Today, we'll be speaking to Prakash, who's a sales leader with over 15 years of experience in sales and business development and is currently working at the world's leading CRM software and computing company. So, to start off, Aaron, could you tell us, with the rise of technology and artificial intelligence, some jobs are becoming redundant while some jobs are also becoming increasingly important? How do you think a student can stay ahead of the learning curve and develop skills in a field like sales?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sean. And I really think that AI is going to be a way to enhance the way we do work and really advance us, not only as a society, but in the types of work we do in general. A lot of the work that gets done today in the workplace is very manually driven, a lot of manual processes, a lot of redundant work, and redundant in the sense that you have to do a lot of analysis manually and collate and connect. In the work that I do, there's different systems you have to access, and there's different tools you need to use to generate outputs that with AI can be done automatically. You can use, in my field, AI to analyze everything that you want and get insights from data and build a case to make action. AI is going to be a tool that allows you to automate a lot of processes. And if you really enhance that in your day-to-day roles, you're going to get to a world where you'll have more time for making decisions. And I think that's what AI is really going to drive. So my advice for students who are looking to integrate AI as part of their day-to-day and use it as part of their career, understand how it works and understand how it can help you in the roles of tomorrow, which are going to be more about people and decision-making, less so than manual labor and outputs.
Yeah, I think AI is extremely important, especially, when I do courses and, see my YouTube channel and see analytics. There's lots of artificial intelligence used to sort of drive insights for me to sort of see. And I think it's really important, like even if you have a sales or a non-sales role, to have that exposure. Because sometimes even if you like have a business development role, you need analytics and, big data is increasingly growing importance. I think it's quite essential. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
So
let's not forget,
yeah.
I was going to say one more point to that. Let's not forget AI has been around for years, a decade almost. I mean, we're seeing the cusp of generative AI and being able to actually talk and get answers queried. But predictive AI and a lot of that has been around for years. The company that I work for has been heavily invested in generating insights. And, a great example is when you browse an online store or when you're shopping for yourself, not only do you go through that transaction process, not only does your post-sales experience get augmented by AI, the next best product when you're shopping, potentially prompting you to review and then connecting and having the right experience. All of that is driven by AI and machine learning. So this has been around for a long time, and understanding the layers of that and how generative is just one aspect of it is going to be something that's really critical for students to really wrap their heads around, and then understanding the new revolution, of the fourth industrial revolution that we're in right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think even Google has come up with, Google Gemini as its AI to sort of compete with other AIs. And I think, companies today, like over the last 2-3 years, have been trying to harness the power of AI just so they can drive insights, increase, revenue growth for themselves, and also stand out against competition. So yeah, I think that's increasing importance. So I have another question specifically in sales and, tech sales. So when you establish relationships with new and existing clients, how do you ensure that you create a long-term partnership that leads to growth and mutual benefit for both the client and the company? And what are some ways, you can have skills to sort of,
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of
this?
ways to do this. There are a lot of ways to do this. I've been doing this in some way, shape, or form for 20 plus years, and I'm talking about sales as a profession. My biggest thing when I sell, and I use the word sell in quotes, is I never view it as I have a product and you need to buy it. I always view it as a way to increase adoption, or that something that I can do or have access to can solve a problem. And that mentality of a real partnership between an organization or two organizations, and how you can solve each other's problems, how you can potentially look at what the goals are of your client or potential client, and how you're able to support that long term. The client doesn't care how that solution is delivered, whether it's through software, hardware, or some sort of technology. They care about getting to their company goals, whether it's growing revenues, expanding different markets, whether it's developing new products or audience retention. And if you can keep that focus in mind, regardless of where you sell and what you sell, what technology, what the cloud platform is, what industry you sell to. Those are going to be the things that are really going to help you stand out. Focusing as if you were an investor or if you were an employee of that organization, and making sure to solve those problems and help them grow or be more efficient. Those are the things that are going to be very powerful to create a mutual benefit with you and your customers. There's no other way that I believe works. It's beneficial for all parties. And at the end of the day, that's how the strength of the partnership is really going to be evaluated, and how you were able to deliver solutions to problems that maybe they had and problems that they don't know that they're going to have.
Yeah, I think even with analyzing impact of what you can provide is extremely important. So when you work with clients, how do you sort of come up with a common goal and strategy, how you can use, CRM software or computing to achieve their goals? Like, how do you think about that beforehand and then, give a projected, estimate of how
Yeah.
it's going to help?
Even then, I don't even, my boss might kill me for saying this, but I don't actually really talk product or service very much, especially early on. My process and what we're really taught to do is discover about the business, discover about the goals, about what they're doing short term, long term, personal goals of the individuals involved, what the outcomes that they're looking to achieve are. It doesn't matter what company that they are, whether they're selling advanced, financial instruments, or they sell and manufacture cupcakes. Their goals are going to be radically different, and really focusing on that. And then bringing in the technology afterwards, or the platforms afterwards, to help facilitate that is going to be the key. You really want to make sure that you're understanding at a human level and how you can support that. That's really the way that I find sustained success in what I do.
Right. And even when you work in the field of sales, and use software as a service, how do you think it's evolving over the next decade? You've worked in the industry for so long, and it's been a common term nowadays to use SaaS and
Yeah.
software to grow sales and services. So
Yeah.
how do you think it's going to evolve? Like, what is your perception?
The company I work with has been a pioneer in driving the move to cloud and no more, physical software. And we've seen that evolution over the last decade, to going from installing something on a local machine to accessing everything on the cloud and connecting everything as a service. Even think about your personal life. When you use your phone, all of your phone is connected to a bunch of cloud-based apps. When you play a video game, you're connecting to a server that is managed and supported in the cloud. And I think as we go on, I came from the telecom industry. 5G technology has been going to be deployed rapidly. You're going to basically have unheard of broadband speeds from the palm of your hand, whatever device you use. So the rise of SaaS, I think we're still seeing a huge growth potential in what that could deliver, especially with now the bandwidth and the throughput that you're going to have. Some of the use cases that we're talking about and we're seeing, you're talking about autonomous vehicles, which are going to be huge. You're looking at a network of ways to connect people globally, even ways of doing things like remote surgery as an advanced example, where you have a trained professional far away able to work and support someone without physically being there. You think about those use cases, and you think about how AI and robotics are evolving. There's going to be a huge platform for SaaS. Everything is driven off platforms that are accessible to everyone. And I'm very optimistic about the future of what SaaS is going to look like. And basically, as a service, as a platform, paying a subscription fee to something, or paying a fee without having to worry about maintenance and upkeep, and having that all being centralized, is a brilliant idea, and it's very convenient for all parties involved.
Yeah, and I think speaking of SaaS, when you use SaaS, I've seen many companies, with a lean, management system, where they're really able to optimize costs by just subscribing to certain services without actually having employees making sure that everything's working fine. So I also have another question with regards to like studying in business and studying sales specifically in business school. So with international business being important and a popular specialization for certain students, what are the things these students should consider before making the leap and deciding to work overseas in an international company? You do have courses which sort of targeted towards understanding culture and growth in, you know, various companies and work culture. So, when you made your career transition from Canada to Australia, how are what are the things people should keep in mind, and not just, think that working in an international company and moving abroad is a great thing. What are the things they should consider?
Yeah, and listen, I went to the same school and I graduated from the same school that you attend, so you understand that it's not as easy as picking a job that you want and then working towards it. My advice is I have a business degree, and yes, it helps me understand a lot of things, but the biggest thing that helps is practical experience and application. So my advice from a student perspective, try to take a lot of courses that allow you to think critically and apply what you're learning. There are courses where potentially you have to do theory a lot. So economic theory, finance theory, but I would suggest looking at courses where you can take what you're learning and apply it using cases, potentially even simulations. There's a course that I hope the university still offers on running a company where you become part of an executive team and you have a board of directors that's based in the financial district that you actually meet with, and you run a company through a lot of rounds and development and the entire aspect of everything. That course and courses like that will really teach you how things really run. And when you get into the working world, whether it's an international company that you want to work for, they all look for the same thing. They all look for how much is this person going to be able to impact my bottom line, impact this business, and really drive a return. My biggest thing in driving a return for that is making sure that you're able to learn on the fly. You're not going to know everything, but you're able to learn, communicate, and apply. And that's another thing. Communication skills are going to be absolutely critical to your success in finding a career that is fulfilling and challenging, but also quite valuable. Knowing how to work with the people around you and how to navigate an organization from top to bottom, internally and then externally. It gives you a really good understanding of organizations that you're going to deal with, but also it helps you really get established and build your own personal brand. So that is my advice. I can't really nominate specific courses. You still have to be pretty good at the theory, and you have to be good at the number crunching, and you have to be good at the rationalizing, but try to find many chances for you to apply what you're learning, work on those communication and interpersonal skills. And I think that's really going to be a benefit to you. And you're going to see the return from that when you really get in there and start working for the first time, wherever it may be. Your first opportunity often will be the most ideal, but from there, that's where everything starts to grow and evolve for you. And your career isn't a straight line. It's definitely a lot of peaks and valleys, and there's more than one road to the final destination. So I would really focus on those and building those relationships, because that's what's going to be key for you.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think the course you're mainly referring to about running, a company with classmates and, having a board of directors working in the financial district. I think it's called Creative Destruction Lab. I don't know if it's different in your time, but yeah, we do have that
Probably.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we do have that course. And another question I have is, as students today, before we enter the workforce full time, what are the things we can do to sort of see whether we actually like, a career in sales, aside from just taking sales courses or marketing courses in university? Like, are there any good part-time roles or things you could do outside the classroom which can really help you sort of oversee and understand whether sales is the
Yeah.
career for you? Because a lot of sales jobs do require a lot of communication, being very outgoing, and being able to convince someone to do something that benefits you as well. So yeah, so what do you
Yeah.
think a student could do to sort of see and gain experience in the field of sales before just entering the
Yeah.
workforce?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I wish I had a perfect answer for that. But even me, I didn't actually think that I was going to do this as a career. I went into business school naively thinking that I was going to do a job where I put on a suit and sit on a computer and, have coffee in the downtown core and have meetings. And I thought that was the job, in a nutshell. And yes, there's elements of that. But I had always done some form of sales early in my career, even as a kid. And for me, it wasn't selling. It was very much trying to convince. I worked in technology sales for a long time. It was really trying to convince people in general that the thing that I have or the thing that we represent is definitely going to help improve, the way you live your life and the business that you do. And I got joy out of that. So for me, sales is not a transactional type of career. It's a very challenging career that allows you to have new problems to try to solve every day. No day's the same. There is not a guaranteed, especially in the path that I've chosen. And while I'm in the office today, this is not the norm. I'm usually out meeting clients or traveling or trying to collaborate with my team on different issues. It's a very dynamic career. And what I really enjoy about it is the variety and the types of things I get to solve, types of work I get to do, because afterwards I get to be proud of, hey, this organization that you know and you love, this food brand that you enjoy, well, guess who helped them with their development, or guess who helped them with their distribution, or guess why they're all omnipresent online. I get to really take ownership and celebrate that success. So that to me is very empowering. And my specific industry, because a lot of my total compensation is tied to performance, it really is the type of work where, like you mentioned earlier, growing up in an Indian household, working hard is often reflected in what you get as a reward. And for me, this career path is very, very easy to see that the more work you put in, the more you get out of it. And it's a career that's allowed me to, like you said, I left the country that I lived in for a long time, and I live in a new country now, and I get to do things like that because of this career path. So for me, as as a student who wants to try it out, I think sales as a skill is something you're always going to have, whether you're an entrepreneur, especially in entrepreneurship, but whether you're selling your ideas to your company, or you're selling your concept and products and services to another company, or even if you're an analyst and you're a internal cog of a machine, you're going to have to sell your work and your outputs as the reason to be adopted, and that's a skill that I think is really good to have. So for me, I really enjoy that. I hope that gives you some clarity.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much for that. I think this really gives us a lot of insight into, how we can potentially embark on a sales career. And, would you like last question would be,
No, keep
do you
going.
have any yeah, do you have any recommendations on like any courses? Like you did talk about, Trailhead as a website which you can use to sort of do courses at your own time. But, what are some of the courses and softwares you really want students to sort of have experience in before, like you
Sure.
have Power BI and stuff like that? So any
Yeah, well, I would
recommendations?
I would never recommend in my current role using that last software you mentioned, but I think the biggest thing is a lot of systems, especially the ones that my company puts in, they become the standard. So there's a common language to speak, whether you're using Salesforce or you're using Tableau or using a software like that. I would definitely try to set those up publicly. There's free trials and free examples that you can set up online. A lot of videos on how to use and develop. You can get certified for free in Salesforce or Tableau, for example, with a lot of free resources online. So I would definitely, if you're interested in it, do it, look it up and take a look. It's definitely something worth looking at. From an academic point of view, take courses, like I said, that give you application, but allow you to use some of the theory as well. I mean, you really have to be in a career like this. You have to be good at everything. You have to be good at finance and number crunching. You have to be good at people management and resources from a people aspect. Operationally, you have to understand how an organization works from that aspect, because you're often, when you work in the large enterprise space, you're trying to consider the entire organization from top to bottom. And so you have to have a good understanding of the politics, of the operations, of the flow of work, and how things go, even down to how people are compensated, because that's going to really drive a lot of your decision making to support what you're trying to do. So have conversations with people. I mean, you can even try a simple sales job where, again, retail is where I started, but you look at the mechanics of that and how you interact and what the goals are. It'll give you a rough idea of how things work. But if you can get to a role where you have to build the solution of something and work and partnership with the customer, it's never a one-sided relationship. You want to make sure that there's a partnership there. And if you can do something like that, all the more power to you, because that's going to give you a better look at what this looks like as a career.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your advice and tips, and I wish you
Yeah,
all
no
the very
problem.
best on your sales journey.
I appreciate that. And to anyone who is going on this journey, it's definitely something that's worthwhile. If you find something that you love and you find something that you really enjoy and you enjoy the challenge, it doesn't really feel like work. I've been doing this for, how long did Sean say? 15 plus years. I, it I doesn't feel like I grind at all. I mean, there are challenging moments, but this is something that I enjoy, and it's obviously paid off, decently for me to be able to travel the world and meet a lot of different people and build a network. So I'm really excited about what I do for a living, and I hope that other future generations can be excited about this as well.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no problem.
thank you.